Ho hum. Okay. Oh, get this out of the way so people can see. Good evening, everybody. Matt Geary for the Geek Pride cast on this Sunday evening. As you can see, we have we have a bigger visual feast for you on this eve, and we have some new faces, but old faces. So we're going to do some introductions here. With me tonight, we have Mark Canty in the flesh. We have Peter Ray Allison.
How you doing?
We have Jonjo Cosgrove.
Assure you, I am waving, even though you cannot see me.
And back. He's back, baby. Bevan Clatworthy.
Oh.
Welcome back, Bevan. It's been so long, man.
It's been an age.
And your board game collection is looking immense. Absolutely immense.
It's after a trim as well.
Yeah, for all of you who aren't watching this, maybe listening to this, he has a mighty board game collection in the background. You also have shelves for miniatures as well.
Yes, so some of the games I bought have got some cracking miniatures in, like Blood Rage is all like Viking monsters and that kind of thing, and it felt like a real shame just to leave them in the box. So I thought, I'll have a couple of them out and about. So, yep.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so gentlemen, well, actually, do you know what, Bevan? You haven't been on for so long, and I was actually listening to a podcast. It was you, me, and Julietta, I think, and we were talking about synthesized bull semen for some reason.
Oh yeah,
I think that might have been your last podcast.
That might have been what drove me away. Yeah.
So what have you been up to, man? What's been going on in the Clatworthy Towers? You haven't had any more babies, have you?
No. Well, depends. Did you know about the second one?
I knew about the second one. I knew you had a second child.
Okay,
right. You were very virile. And
long story short, it's I moved house. Released an expansion for one of the games I've designed. Ghostel. Had another kid. Then the house flooded, and now we're in a lockdown. So it's all going rather well. No, it's been a busy, crazy, weird time for the last 3 years. I think was the last time I was on. It's been a while.
Fucking hell. Well, to be honest, we had basically a year and a half, maybe just under 2 year break. But yeah, so that would have been a long time. So,
so yeah. The one good thing about moving house though is that there was I don't know they call it, a granny annex or something.
Yeah.
Us about the house, and this room here. I mean, obviously you can't see all of it, but it's now nerdvana. Kind of like got my video games over there. I've got a board over there for doing my design stuff. I've got all these back here, which is fantastic. And the table I'm on is a gaming table, and it's just it's exactly the place I wanted. Unfortunately, because the house is quite old, there's a real problem with like mold and stuff.
No.
So I'm now having to ventilate and humidify and all the grown-up boring stuff that I just didn't think I'd have to ever do. But there you go. A moldy board game. So
I am so jealous, man. Like I miss my man cave so much. Like I was in my mate's house helping him move some stuff the other day, and he had just set up his, and he had all his sort of his Warhammer stuff out, and he had all his paints out, and he had this thing, and I was just, I miss my man cave. I miss it so much.
Did you have like a special door as well for that? Yes,
I did. I had an amazing sort of like key entry padlock door to get into the room. I had the entire garage converted. I had it exactly the way I wanted, and then I moved house with my ex, and then we broke up very soon after that, and it was a shit show pretty much from then on. So I'm now in a rented place with no man cave, looking to buy a house. And I miss it. I miss my man cave so much.
Sorry, dude.
But we said no more sob stories.
I know it's beautiful that you've got something like that, man. It's a beautiful sight to behold. If you're listening to this, you should get onto YouTube or on Facebook and just have a look at the the amount of board games he's got in the background. My heart doth flutter. Okay, so what has everybody else been up to? What have you been up to in the last week? What has been going?
Oh, I think the big thing, Pete was actually saying it before we actually even came on, San Diego Comic-Con, or the equivalent of, which has been taking place over this past week. Some things have been pretty good. Some things have been a little bit lackluster, let's just say. There was a lot of stuff about Kevin Smith. Apparently, his whole podcast, basically, he went out on his own YouTube channel, so he was able to be as free as he wanted, but they also put it on the San Diego channel, which they tried to edit, and apparently they had quite a bit of a show trying to have the 10-second delay to block every profanity that was coming out of his mouth. So well done to them. My highlight for San Diego Comic-Con has got to be the Rick and Morty panel, because I love me Rick and Morty. It's a great show, one of my favourite shows of all time. They spoke a little bit about what's going to be for season 5, which we don't know when it's going to come, but we've seen the first little preview, and it looks as funny as ever. And they've also spoke not just about season 5, but they're also writing season 6 as we speak. So it's nice to know that this show has still got a massive future ahead. I can't wait to see what's coming up. And, some of the other panels, obviously I see bits and pieces, but I mean, you guys have probably seen the ones that you wanted to see. You've probably, experienced them. You've seen whatever videos, and
I must admit, the big one for me was the Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah, I watched
that. And that
was
basically, I saw the trailer, and that just gave me a huge smile. And they're just hitting all the right notes, and they're kind of acknowledging that Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves are older people now, and therefore they've kind of written that into the ongoing story of Bill and Ted. And they've got basically, as I understand it, they brought back the original writer. Or rather, the writer who's always written Bill and Ted, who fundamentally knows the characters, and just basically plotting out their ongoing story. And basically, I've got a theory about Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is that I think the daughters are the ones that write the song that saves the earth.
Oh,
that
that seems pretty logical,
so
doesn't it?
Tibetan throat singing.
Pardon?
It won't be the Tibetan throat singing then.
No.
Tibetan throat singing.
I thought I was going to get an example then.
Quick shout out to Paddy Kemp from last week. We're going for Paddy this time because we couldn't pronounce your name last time. He says the geek is strong with Bevan, metal horns. Good evening, all. Evening, Paddy.
Good evening, Paddy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The whole time back to you, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on, Pete. You were wrong.
Yeah, basically, my theory is, given what we've seen in the trailers, that I can see, and that the daughters were there at the end of Ben Ted's Bogus Journey, is I think the daughters are the ones that write the music, but essentially, unintentionally, their fathers, Bill and Ted, are the ones that accredited it. So that's my 5 pennies worth from what we're seeing. So make of that what you will. But all I'm saying is, when it's released, I'll be there and just see if I'm right.
I'm just hoping it's going to be good. There's something about seeing Keanu Reeves back. As much as I loved him as Ted, he's not Ted anymore. He's fucking John Wick. All right, he's an assassin. He's a kick-ass assassin.
John Wick has just had a quick shave, and he's like,
and when he starts doing the whole Ted thing again, it makes me kind of go.
I'd love to see his acting method. I'd love to see how he goes from doing a John Wick film to doing Bill and Ted. So he's like, I'm this master assassin. Also, he's just walking around for a week, just going, dude. Whoa.
Actually, there's one bit in the trailer where Keanu Reeves, as Ted's going, I'm tired, dude. And he just looks and sounds like John Wick at that point. And it just reinforces that kind of my theory that John Wick is what happens when Ted goes to military school.
I was just going to say that, you had that theory that's the parallel universe. Yeah, he actually goes off to fucking military school and becomes John Wick.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's some seriously good fan fiction right there.
There has to be a nod to it.
Yeah. There will be. I can see it. Just also, they're bringing back Death.
Yes.
They're bringing back Death. He was the standout character in the Bogus Journey, if only for the Reaper rap.
Do you know it? You may be a king or a little street sweeper, but
sooner or later you dance to the Reaper.
Love it.
Rachel, high five,
Get down with your bad self.
Yeah. So they're bringing back, and as far as I'm aware, they're bringing back the original actor as well, and it's just great. It's just they're staying true to the films as a whole, And that gives me that nice warm glow.
I'm sort of. It's the same with, like, you know, when Kevin Smith brought back, did the reboot and stuff, which, you know, as much as I love, I love Kevin Smith and I love all this stuff, but I didn't really overly enjoy. I didn't hate it, but I didn't sort of overly enjoy Jay and Silent Bob reboot to Mr. Varney's distress. But I'm just hoping that, you know, they don't sort of try to overly parody themselves and they just sort of kind of go, you know, I
think from the first trailers, I think what I've liked is that the feel is still very similar to the original movies. It doesn't feel like they've tried to really go over the top with how it looks. It's still in place. It still feels like it is straight out of an early 90s cut. I don't know. I want to watch the first two again in the next few weeks. Obviously, get prepared for the new one. But from what I've seen so far, it doesn't feel like it's a forced progression. It feels like it's almost natural, similar to.
I think
there's been a few films that have done it. You know, there's been a few that have kind of had this big gap and then come back into it. And I'm one of the people who actually like the second Tron film, and I actually really like Blade Runner 2049. I think that was a fantastic movie, and to me, that felt like it was a nice progression on from Blade Runner. And I know a lot of people weren't too keen, but I thought actually worked really well, and it's probably like one of the best looking movies I've ever seen as well. But it looks still like its predecessor as well.
Yeah, I think also given the fact that, given the title, I think it's going to be the film where we see them taking on the responsibility of what both as fathers and also, in fact, of writing the music that saves the world. And I think at one point, I think it's Bill's dad turns to him and goes, "What are you guys doing? You can't keep doing this like 30 years later." I think this guy acknowledges the fact that time has passed. They can't just keep being the airheads that they were back in the 90s.
And apparently that wedding is Deacon's wedding, you know, his little brother Deacon.
Nice.
Getting married to the
Nice.
sister, apparently, yeah. So yeah, well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm fingers crossed. You know, it's just, again, I think, you know, like Paddy said in the comments there, you know, is anybody worried that it's going to be shit? You know, I love the idea, but realistically, it's not John Wick.
That's normal. That is natural. I think
there's got to be cause for concern. To be fair, I mean, anything that has such, you know, nostalgia value and is so well regarded, there is concern that it's not going to be as good as the original, and possibly by its very existence diminish the overall quality. But it's more Bill and Ted. And actually, Kevin Smith said something that was quite interesting. He said that without Bill and Ted, there would be no Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes, he did, actually. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Which I thought, like, until you've said that, I thought, actually, yeah, he's right. You know, the two characters do share the companionship, and
there are similar traits. Yeah,
exactly.
I think going into not just obviously Bill and Ted, but a lot of films that are coming up now, you've got a lot of sequels that are being planned, and there is this whole thing that even this talk about Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. You know, if it's done right, it could be fantastic. But there is always going to be this fear. You know, are they doing it for the right reason? Are you actually bringing these people back? Are you actually trying to bring these storylines, these characters, these actors back? Are you doing it for a good reason? Or are you doing it to try and make a quick few quids? That is
as long as they're telling new stories, that's fine. I mean, like, if they bring back Michael Keaton as Batman and do essentially adapt Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, which is an aged Batman.
I would love that.
That would be good. Brilliant. That would be brilliant. But if he's just trying to recreate Batman from the 90s, and then you could argue that's perhaps not the best thing.
They're saying it's going to be the Flashpoint story, and then it's going to be the end of Flashpoint. It's going to basically, or like the majority of Flashpoint will be Batman is Michael Keaton's Batman, and then when the Flash messes up with the timeline, somehow we have the Thomas Wayne version of I don't know how it's going to work having an older Batman, but I think there's going to be not just the whole thing about time travel, but I think it is going to be a whole multiverse thing that's going to come into effect as well.
Just bring back
Adam West.
No, yeah, just dig him up, stick him in his suit again.
You know what? I would be happy if they actually did, and I know a lot of people didn't like him, but I thought Ben Affleck had a lot of promise.
Ben Affleck,
and I think he got he got a really good shot with Batman v Superman. He proved to a load of people that not only could he be a great Batman, but he could do the part so well. He actually had great physique into the character. He was able to really show off what Batman could be, really showing a darker slant to the character. And then, I don't know, they kind of just really mistreated him. And I think it was, especially like when you see Justice League, it was like, they literally must have just said to him, you're not going to have much time to prepare to be Batman again. We're actually going to be filming 2 weeks after we finished promoting Batman v Superman. And he really was not ready for it. You could see, not being mean to the guy, because, you know, he still didn't look bad, but you see some of the photos of him and it's like, he was not prepared. He did not get the time to get himself ready for that part. He was literally like, you know, in the comfortable phase, and they're just like, yeah, don't worry, we'll put a muscle suit on you this time. Don't worry about actually having muscles this time. We'll get you sorted out. And it just, I don't know, and he just did not look comfortable in that film.
Yeah, but to be fair though, preparing is not just bulking up, but also it's also training and being able to not only look at the part but be the part. And I mean, being the part is more like motion and movement.
Yeah.
I did like the fighting style in that film, though. Like he felt very much like he was sort of bone crunching.
Yeah, it was very very visceral,
smashing his way through.
Oh, in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I quite like
the warehouse scene. The warehouse scene is still one of the best things, and even the Batmobile chase around about the halfway point of the film, I thought that was very well shot. There is a lot of good shots in that film. There's some really good moments, but it's just overall a lot of people just really do take. Well, there's a lot of things that do obviously bring that film down. Jesse Eisenberg, but you know, it's he's all right, but he really does. He really does fuck me off sometimes when he's trying to be the clever person. I don't mind the snivelly clever person because that's quite a common character. But it's like when he gets to a certain point when he's just like doing all the funny voices, like, what the fuck are you on about?
He's always the same character in all of his films, though. That's the only problem I have with him.
Yeah, I saw him.
And I understand like typecasting is a thing because you know you just don't see certain people in certain roles, but he always comes across. What was the one where he was like a magician or something?
The Magicians.
Oh, Now You See Me.
Was it?
Now You See Me.
What's it called here? Oh, what's it called? Oh.
That is it. Now You See Me. Yeah.
Now You See Me. That's it.
With
Yeah,
Woody
that's it.
Harrelson and everything in it.
Yeah.
It was a decent film, but again, he played the same kind of snivelly, you know, I'm smarter than everybody else in the room kind of character, and you know,
pretty much.
That's
after
fine.
After doing The Social Network, that was it. That was just his bit. He's just going to Mark Zuckerbergish himself through every film role now. It's like, yay, lovely. And then you know he did do Zombieland 2, and that was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the first. I remember seeing the first one. I thought he was really good in that.
Yeah.
And then Woody Harrelson, I don't know, he stole the show for me in that film. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
He does seem to have reached the point, Woody Harrelson, now where if you give him that sort of a part, he just runs with it.
Yeah.
And he just leaves everybody else in his way.
But what is those with Woody Harrelson? You can see when he loves doing a film. You can see the excitement that comes in his face. Especially was it Semi-Pro when you see him in that film. I mean, he just absolutely laps it up. And even in Venom, at the end of Venom as well, when you got him playing Cletus Cassidy, he's just you can see he's just
Is he being confirmed as Carnage in Venom 2?
He's definitely Carnage in Venom 2. Yeah,
good.
And at least they've changed his wig as well. It ain't that stupid red curly one which they just glued on him at the last minute. It's like, you need to have red hair, mate. Oh, all right.
I've not seen Venom. I was.
Oh, spoiler.
No, I know what's going on, but it's sort of like I was just sort of I heard so many bad things about it and stuff, and it was getting. And I'm not generally the sort of person who reads reviews and goes, I'm not going to watch that film. I want to make a decision myself. But just even people who I kind of would believe more were just saying, yeah, it's not very good, and I just didn't bother watching it. So.
It was all right. It was very watchable.
It's fun. It's very fun. And I think Tom Hardy definitely makes that film go from what could be a very hard to watch movie to quite enjoyable because he's just fun all the way through. And you got to think a lot of the communication is basically between himself because he does voice the symbiote as well.
Oh, does he? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like he's talking to a sock puppet. That's the thing.
No, he doesn't. It actually feels quite natural as well, which is quite nice and very unusual. And I kind of the only thing that it made me think about, and it goes to a negative when I talk about this now, Michael Fassbender in the last Alien film, because there is a bit when he plays two versions of the android, and it's just that horrible line when he goes, "Yeah, you blow and I do the fingering" when they're playing the flute. It's like that line. Just
we don't talk about that film.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it.
I'm going to get popcorn. I might not come back. And yeah, that's it.
I didn't mind it. Rick Ward on Facebook says American Ultra was a great film for Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, very true.
I've seen that one.
True.
I keep forgetting about it, but then that was written by Max Landis, and I've kind of gone off of these films because he look him up. Basically, there's some weird shit that he's been involved with. But yeah, I just can't watch his movies anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, we won't talk any more about it.
So what else have we got? What else was there? I kept
Lovecraft Country.
Say it again.
Lovecraft Country.
Oh, right, yeah.
That looks really good. It's basically Lovecraft in the 70s and really brings the racism that was in H.P. Lovecraft's writing to the fore. And with added tentacles.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because it's Lovecraft. But yeah, it's really, really good.
Oh, excellent.
Sorry?
I was just going to say, Lovecraft's very much sort of in the fore at the moment with a lot of sort of like the board gaming and the literacy side because of the whole like the BLM movement. Yeah, I'd really be intrigued to watch that because I'd love to see how I think I saw an article like how they've taken the Lovecraft mythos and they've taken it like from him almost. Like they've dissected out all the stuff the negative stuff that informed the writing and sort of some of the characters and how they were formed. And like I think it was something to do with like when he moved to New York and he was completely like lost and confused and he was blaming sort of the non-white racial groups for his confusion and everything. And obviously that then informed his writing with the whole like, ooh, the spooky stuff I don't understand, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd be really intrigued to see that, just to see how they've kind of how they just address it and face it head on and say, no, this is wrong, bam, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, basically the principal characters are all African Americans, and yeah, it's embedded itself brilliantly in the I think it's set 17. I might be wrong, it's a bit hard to tell initially, and yeah, it really embeds itself in the setting, in the story, and it looks amazing. It really does. It looks beautiful.
Cool.
And has tentacles.
And has tentacles, of course.
I do like 20% more tentacles in my
yeah, basically the latest trailer, it's just like it starts off quite normal, and then for want of a better term, and there's increasingly creepy undertones through it until the last 10 seconds when it's just like tentacles.
Suddenly tentacles.
I think there was some other things. It wasn't the San Diego Comic-Con, though I keep on getting reminders from my Facebook. My Facebook keeps on sort of rubbing my face in that 4 years ago today I was in Las Vegas, and 4 years ago, today I was in San Diego Comic-Con, and there's a video popping up of me sort of gushing about how awesome San Diego Comic-Con was. I was like, I'm not there. I'm not there.
San Diego itself is like really not suffering, but it's really missing the con, because I mean there is a massive like support network and infrastructure that springs up around the convention to support it.
Oh man, the entire city gets taken over. Like literally, it is. There's not one shop that doesn't get affected by that place. You cannot. It literally is. The San Diego Comic-Con is San Diego, and it's just it's a sight to behold. It's absolutely if you've never been, you should. It's I think Josh had a bit of a shock because he went I think last year. One, I don't think he realised, though I did warn him, that it's very hot, and two, the amount of people there is absolutely insane. It's like wall to wall people. So if you're slightly claustrophobic,
but it's like all the people trying to get into Hall H for the panels. And I've heard some proper horror stories before when they go, the first whatever 2,000 people that get through the doors, you're in for the panel. And apparently there is like sometimes like massive punch ups, and you got people literally tearing limb from limb to try and get into this room.
I've never wanted to see somebody enough to sort of do that sort of thing. I'm a patient man, but I'm very adverse to queuing for things. I fucking hate queuing for things. And when I saw them sort of queuing around the marina and stuff to go into Hall H, I was like, seriously, it's not worth it. I can watch the stuff on TV, or on YouTube and things. I'll get all that stuff soon.
I talking of like obviously conferences, things like that. Another thing that's obviously been a big miss this year was E3. That's that had a massive impact, and that's something I'd like to go to one day. Yeah. But I think E3, I don't know if you guys really follow it from like year to year, but it has obviously had a bit of a lack, I guess is the best way to put it.
Sony out quite badly.
Yeah. Sony a couple of years ago pulled out of it completely. They're like, we'll do our own thing. We don't need to be with you guys anymore. And they kind of went off, and and that was it. And then this year apparently there was going to be a couple of other companies that were going to break off as well. Yeah. So E3 was going to look a bit better. And I think that's bad because in a way I get it, because companies, obviously they get their own PR, they get their own budget in. And why would they pay? Because some of these companies apparently paying like $5 million just to have themselves represented at this venue, at this place. Why would they do that if they can basically put that money into doing their own presentation, maybe even hiring out their own hall?
Well, and it's not even the hall. It's the fact that, the sort of... And I don't know why they didn't cotton on to this earlier on, but, a lot of these people a lot of us will watch this online, and they will watch the stream. And, why would they pay, like you said, why would they pay for this massive hall with all these people when the most of their audience is coming through via a stream or via YouTube and stuff? So they don't need to do that. And that's where I think, why certain people like Sony have gone off on their own.
But they have worked. It has worked, them doing their own thing. And, even Nintendo have done it for years now. They've not actually had a live presence at E3. They've just done a pre-recorded segment. They've done like Treehouse thing, where they do like gameplay of some of the reveals. But like their main announcements are all done in like a 1-hour video. And they just go, but we're going to be on at whatever time. It's all pre-recorded from like a month before. Everything's all set. And but I kind of missed the theatricality of it all. I loved I think it was like 2017 one. They actually did have a full-blown orchestra out for some of them as well. So like when they're going yes, and now to talk about the Ubisoft one, and now to talk about the new exciting Mario game from Ubisoft. Here's so and it's like they've got the proper like Mario band theme playing. It's like it's so cool. It was like it was so fun. I like something like that, especially if it is a little bit cheesy as well. And then that was also this. And then it was the next year when they done the big, like the last PlayStation push basically for PS4, where they had 4 big games they were to talk about. That was Spider-Man, which was coming out later that year. They also had Last of Us 2. I think it was Days Gone, and then Ghost of Tsushima, which Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 came out 2 years later, which is a long time from having like a proper big reveal to having video games out. But we are starting to see that now.
We had Halo Infinite gameplay shown.
What did you think of that?
I wasn't happy with it.
Well, you see, there's lots of people who, and I am a massime Halo. I'm a massive Halo fanboy. I love Halo. The reason I went the Xbox was because of Halo. Me and my brother, bummed that game. We love it. It's just literally just the best thing. But and we've been waiting for Halo Infinite because Halo 5 wasn't the best.
4 and 5 both kind of dropped off a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, 4 I think story-wise, the ending of Halo 4, the story with him and Cortana was beautiful. I loved that. The campaign was great. Halo 5 with this again. For me, Halo was the campaign. As much as I don't mind. I like running around shooting my mates and stuff like that. But what's it, Josh? Sorry, Josh has just pushed the thing on. It's like you guys on video or on pause. I don't know why. Oh, right. Okay, random. I don't know what he means, but so it's like Halo 5. You had a a campaign where you had Spartan Locke being as equally as part of the story as Master Chief, and I didn't overly like that because it's all about Master Chief, and just having some random guy flying in, taking away his thunder kind of annoyed me slightly.
But then that was kind of what happened in Metal Gear Solid 2. The whole thing when that was first advertised, it was just because it was just Solid Snake, and everyone was like, we can't wait to get back to playing this character. Hour and a half into the campaign, and then all of a sudden it's like you're Raiden. It's like okay. I actually really enjoyed Metal Gear 2, and I was actually a fan of that twist. I thought that was very well done. It was good to see. It was hidden from all the marketing. No one actually knew this was coming up. But I actually remember my cousin, he was playing it, and as soon as he got to that bit and he's playing this character like 10 minutes, he went, oh no, this is shit. And he literally just threw his controller, and being nice, because this was still PS2, because it was on the lead, the console went with it when he threw it as well.
No.
So, oh my God. Lucky enough, it didn't cause any damage, which was good. But when you see the controller going, all of a sudden you see the PlayStation following it next to it, it's like, oh God, that's not good. That's a good 400 quid gone. But yeah, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was a really good game. But
back to Halo. Sorry, we're not going off the tangent. Back to Halo. We're not missing this. We're gonna go back.
Yeah, for me, what I took away from it was that it looks like more Halo, but it's just been Halo enough.
The thing is, right, I talked to some of my friends about this, and there was a lot of people who were sort of kind of moaning the graphics don't look up to scratch for they don't look up to scratch to what the sort of new Xbox, next generation Xbox is going to be. I don't care as long as the gameplay is good. I don't really care. We've talked about this before on podcasts that I would rather there be good gameplay over better graphics and stuff. Like people kicking off about sort of graphics and stuff. It's just like, I don't care as long as it plays well. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
Gameplay trumps graphical
100%
every time.
And so I will see what it's like gameplay wise. It's completely open. Apparently it's completely open world. You can sort of drive around in like Paddy says on Facebook, a Scorpion tank or a Warthog or whatever, and you go to waypoints and you do it like that. So they're sort of kind of taken into the sort of like Destiny type thing, and I like that idea. But
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
When you get these obviously not just the Xbox conference, but there's any time they show like gameplay, you got to remember. They're broadcasting this not in 4K because they go, this is going to be the big 4K experience. It's like, right, what you're watching is not representative of what's going to be on your console. And even when it is on your own console, you're not watching it through the internet like you are, watching the Xbox showcase. You're going to have your own experience of it. So what you see there is not going to be anywhere near the same with what's going to be like when you got on your own screen.
I've got 3 words for you: aliens, Colonial Marines.
Please don't be like that, man.
But
that was such a letdown. I really wanted that game to be good. I really wanted that game to be good, and it was horrible.
I'm a massive Aliens fan, and I still have the game because I can't. It's an Aliens game, and I just have to keep holding it because I'm a massive Aliens fan. I won't play it, but yeah.
Pete, I got my sideshow replica pulse rifle came through.
Oh, you don't want that.
It's fucking heavy, man. It's really heavy thing. Like it's kind of the guy turned up. And he said, and he looked at me, and went, so what's this? It says aliens on the box. It says aliens on the box. I think he wanted me to open it up so he could see it. And it's like, it's a pulse rifle, man. I got a replica pulse rifle from Sideshow, and he's just like, oh right, wow, that's really cool. And he stood there for a while. I'm not opening it now, man.
He don't know what you're on about. He's just like, oh yeah, that's nice.
Come on, press up.
But like Halo, we'll see what happens and stuff. Graphics are not a massive issue for me as long as the gameplay is good and as long as there's a good sort of multiplayer to it and as long as they bring back split screen. I don't care because that was a massive issue of mine on Halo 5. No split screen, and the whole thing about Halo is being. I know in these days, very few people sort of go around to your mate's house, especially now, obviously in lockdown, but you don't go around to your mate's house to play a game of Halo. You play over the internet. But for me, Halo has always been having 4 Xboxes, having you get a day once a year, you get 4 Xboxes, you get 4 massive TVs, and you get all your mates around, and you just fucking play Halo, and it's absolutely amazing. You can't get that in multiplayer games online. Yeah, I mean, you have to
back
have
in 2000, me and 15 other mates from university would just meet around a friend's house with 4 TVs, 4 Xboxes, and just have a massive Halo LAN party.
Yeah,
and it was it is absolutely insane. And yeah, make sure you never give me the rocket launcher.
Man, I have so many, and that's why I love that game so much. I have so many fond memories of playing with mates and just assing around, you know, just doing stupid things. Like there's one where we were playing a big map at my mate's house, and there was like 6 of us, and it was like 3v3, and and it was just hilarious because my brother, one of the quad bikes, I was on it. I was like, jump on and we'll go and get them. And he sort of jumped on and then started hitting me over the head and going, mush, mush, mush. And I was wetting myself, and it was so ridiculous, but it was hilarious, man. And stuff like that is just so good. And the best thing ever.
And that's why LAN parties will always trump online, because you lose that connectivity and interaction.
Yeah, that's
that you'd have.
There's nothing better than sort of walking into there's nothing better than walking into the next room and gloating when you've won. You know, there's all well and good sort of winning and shouting over your microphone, you know, I've won this game. But going into the next room, doing a dance, and just sort of kind of and then going back into the other room. It's amazing.
There's also nothing like finding. Yeah. Sorry. There's also nothing like finding a rocket launcher and then having everyone shout at you, Pete, when you're blowing up the entire team.
Sorry, guys. Or when you get to the point where I think one time when we had this, it was only 8 of us that were playing, but we played to about 5-6 o'clock in the morning, and it was just more to see who could stay up the longest, basically, who was going to stay awake. And we all had our headsets on as well, so very immersive into it. And one of our friends literally did fall asleep, and all we could see is that his character was just going in circles. Obviously, we're leaning on the control. So we like I just said, right on the headset, right, let's just go to the next room very quickly. And obviously he's laying half on the side. He's got his character still going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. So we've just all walked out. We've turned the lights off, turned the console off, and we just thought, right, let's leave him here. Let's see how long it takes for him to. And about 10-15 minutes later, it's like, fuck it, let's see. We rang his phone. He's got. You
didn't draw on him. Dude, come on. That's like party 101 there. There's rules. No. If you fall asleep in a gaming zone, you're open to being drawn on. There has to be a cock on your face, potentially whiskers. There has to be a cock on your face.
I was going to say, it wasn't that kind of party. What it was that we were trying to be a bit more creative, because drawing on someone's face is so it's a bit easy, but we just went. No, come on, let's do. Like, we thought we'd leave it a few minutes. We thought, he's gonna wake up. He's gonna be like shouting out, seeing where everyone was. But no, but it got to the point like we're like listening to the door. Oh, we could just hear him. Like, he's snoring his head off. It's like, right, someone just ring his mobile. He's right and went, yeah, you're right, mate. We've all gone home. What? Yeah, we've all gone home, mate. We left about 3 hours ago. I was just fine because Gary said he's gone up to bed. If you leave, just obviously make sure the door's shut when you go. What are you guys on about? It's like, and he's got all his stuff together. He's packed his bag. He's packed his Xbox back up. He's gone out he's going to the door, and we're all standing there. He's gone, oh, fuck you guys, you wankers.
The shenanigans, eh?
Yeah.
The shenanigans.
We just said, no, set the Xbox back up. We ain't going yet.
Okay, few things from Facebook. We've got Paddy says the Alien game was so shit. What a disappointment. Yeah,
it was massive disappointment. It promised so much and delivered so little.
Yeah, got it about that one. He also says Fable made me buy the Xbox and Knights of the Old Republic. Now Fable, that's a good segue, because Fable They did a review. They did a sort of cinematic intro to the new Fable.
It's probably about 2 years away then.
To be honest, the Fable games have never really grabbed me.
No,
it felt a bit
really good.
They felt a bit too twee. I'd like something a bit more grounded and gritty. I don't know. It doesn't grab me, Fable. What does grab me is Stalker 2. Has anyone seen the trailer for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting. It never really grabbed me the first time around.
The first Stalker game was,
Stalker came out quite a long time ago, didn't the first?
Yeah, early 2000s. And it was a really good game. Incredibly atmospheric. Really, that design and storytelling in terms of the atmosphere and the themes, and was just pitch perfect. The sequels were lent too much on action. Stalker is an atmospheric exploration game. It's not a shooter, and that they leaned far too much into that in the sequels. But yeah, the Stalker 2 looks very much like to be harkening back to the original Stalker, and I can't wait.
Rick Ward says on Facebook, wasn't there something online after presentation streaming saying Halo Infinite was releasing without a multiplayer? What the actual fuck?
Well, apparently they are doing a lot of patches. If I've heard this right, apparently there's going to be no future Halo games after this. They're going to be looking to work on this game for up to 10 years. They're looking to support this game for a decade.
Well,
so they're going along the Destiny route then, are they?
Yeah, but the thing is, I understand that obviously they're trying to look at this Halo as being like a different step, a new chapter, but also looking at it to be like almost like a, not so much a conclusion, but like the combination of everything that's come before it to give a great grand ending. But I feel that we're going to get into this game. We're going to do the campaign, and it's going to be like, yes, the story continues in November 2021 when DLC Pack 1 comes out, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? This is Mass Effect all over again.
It sounds like they're No Man's Skying it a bit. Is that sort of came out half late, didn't it?
But No Man's Sky, if you play that now, it's actually really good.
They've got a horror expansion to that apparently now.
Oh,
yeah.
Interest peaked. Ears went up.
Yeah, apparently there's a horror expansion to it, so you can
explore the old hulks that you find in space.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I got to put it on the list as well. You guys are going to cost me a lot of money at this rate.
One of my favourite recent games, The Outer Worlds, is getting an expansion as well, which looks quite fun. I'm hoping it'll be good. I'm hoping it's not just going to be like a 20 quid rip-off for one extra planet. They'd be like an hour of exploration. They go, yeah, that's your lot. That's done.
Does anybody? This is completely random, but I was just sort of thinking, like, when Bevan turned around and said, "You're costing me a lot of money here," and then I just thought about myself and how stressed I get because there's too much stuff out there, and you kind of want to try everything, but you can't. Does anybody else get stressed out because
I approach the fact I do not replay or rewatch anything. If I watch something, that's it. I've watched it. It goes.
So you've never watched the same film twice?
Have
you ever watched the same film twice? Then you never.
Well, not
even a classic like like Alien or Terminator 2 or
there's so much good stuff out there right now. I mean, just like Black Klansman has just come on Netflix, and I can't wait to watch that.
Oh yes, I missed that one. I do want to.
Yeah, really, really, really good. I'm not seeing it, but just the trailers are just again, it's Spike Lee.
But even so, it's just more the fact that there's so much, like, people, there's so many companies, and because of Kickstarter and, the advent of Steam and stuff. There's just literally so much going on.
I take a step back from Kickstarter. Well, I'll look into it more when it comes out. If it comes out in some cases.
It just stresses me out, man, because like I have this I don't know if it comes back from when I was a child and not having enough people to play with me, and if I have cool games then people will want to play with me, but it's like I just can't help myself, and then it's just like, but then I stress out because I've got all these cool games and then new ones are coming out, and I'm just like, but I need that game because that's a really cool looking game with awesome miniatures.
But it's like whenever I go out, I go into game and it's like, right, I'm just having a look, I'm not going to buy anything, and then literally 2 minutes later it's like, right, why did I fucking buy this? I've still got 10 games to play already.
Yeah, but it's like 40k recently. Have the Indomitus boxes come out.
Yes.
And then they so I've still got regular Marines and stuff to paint and make, and that stresses me out as it is, because I've got loads that I haven't done, and then all this new stuff's come out, and I'm like, I need all the new stuff, and then they're deciding that they're going to replace all the tanks with new tanks, and they've got all these new things, and I'm just like, oh, awesome, thanks Games Workshop, because I'm gonna have to get those as well, and they're just going to be in my pile of shame until the next batch comes out, and then I'm going to want to kill myself because
there's only one Marine codex now for all the different Marine chapters, which made me happy.
There's going to be supplements though. They're going to have supplements though, aren't they? Yeah,
but they already had supplements. But I played Deathwatch, Crimson Fists, and Space Wolves now. So at one point I looked at having, without the rule book or chapter approved or anything, I needed like 4 books just if I wanted to play everything together, and that's not including the fact I've got a couple of knights and assassins.
Yeah, I just
that's part of the reason I switched over to board gaming, was that very problem. Up in that top cupboard up there is like the Nid army that I painted, and it was I thought it was cool looking. It actually was dog, but I stopped. Like there was I was the same with CCGs and TCGs. I just had to stop playing them because I knew that I was sort of delving into. I sold my collection just before the World of Warcraft TCG sort of flopped and disappeared. For was it Hearthstone? They did the online one.
Yeah.
I got rid of it just in time because I could see this sort of collection of like thousands of cards, all of which that got condensed down into one little deck box of about 60 cards that I was the only thing I was actually using. And it was the same with Games Workshop. I just kept buying and buying, and I went, right, no, whoa. Whereas a board game, I might be a little bit biased, but a board game is an isolated unit. You've got this thing, all the gameplay's in there. They might do an expansion, but it's up to you if you want to pick that up or not. In Matt's case, he will pick it up.
but, we established this
seriously,
because
man,
of his Kickstarter addiction, basically.
Yeah, I just.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. How many projects have you backed?
Okay. We tried this last week, and it wouldn't work. But let's try this. So I'll type in Kick, Kickstarter.
Right. So Matt's going to be back in half an hour.
Okay. So let's have a look. Log myself in. Facebook for doing its thing. Okay. Right. This is view all. It's asking me for passwords. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Joel, it's not even going to be the number of projects. It's if you actually can see how much you've actually spent. That'll be the worrying side of it.
There's a mortgage in there somewhere, isn't there?
Grown man crying.
And it's not. It's not even that. It's like there's. Okay.
I could have bought myself a mansion and a Ferrari.
Okay.
No, I got board games instead.
Does it give? All right. Okay. So, do you want to have a guess at how many I've backed?
We didn't get the exact number last week, did we?
No, because we didn't find out because I couldn't log in.
Okay.
How many do you think?
I'm going to say 95.
Well, no.
I might go lowball for about 72.
No, actually. I'll go for it. It's 43. I've got 43 with 3 additionals. Wow. 43 and with 3 additionals. But they are pretty much all ins, so I don't do things by I'll just get the base set. It's like, what, that has expansions and costs £1 million. I'll go for that. I'll just not eat for a week.
Simon are just like they're the kings of that, aren't they? The kings and queens and princes and princesses of just like, and then this thing, and then this thing, and then look, we're 2 weeks into the campaign. Junk box just turns up.
The Song of Ice and Fire tabletop game, man. I have so much of that stuff because I'm just like, it's Song of Ice and Fire, and the miniatures are awesome, and the gameplay's pretty fucking good as well, and I'm just like, I must have all of it. So that's what I get for my birthdays and Christmas nights. It's like, give me cool mini or not stuff. They're like the new Fantasy Flight games for me. It's just like, must have them all.
Well, so Matt, when do you wake up screaming in the night hearing this voice saying, would you like to upgrade your pledge?
Ding, ding.
I just
okay.
But I've got some really. Do you know what the most random thing I've got on my? I'm trying to look through because most of it's board games. Yeah, we got a Ghostel there, the board game backed. In February 2007. February 2017. But the most random thing I have in my my backing list, which is mainly board games, but I've got the odd sort of like tech thing. but I've got a chopping board. And it's a chopping board that has a weighing, it has a sterilizer and a weighing thing all built in. And I don't know, I was at the time I was like, I'm getting a new place. I need a chopping board, and I just got this.
Let me guess, was this chopping board like 200 quid and it cleaned itself as well?
I don't know.
And it had like Sean Bean pasted on the front of it.
Oh, can you imagine if Sean Bean's narrating it as you're using the chopping board? You go sideways.
Oh man, it's just like, it stresses me out, and it's just not. You know, this is definitely first world problems right here. You know, there's a lot more in the world going on, and Matt's moaning by the fact that he's got too many games to play. Boo hoo! But it's just like, I get this feeling that's just like, I really want to do that, and people go, do you want to play this? And I'm like, I do, I want to play that, but then I'm panicking because I can't play that because I feel like I've spent money on something else and I need to sort of put time into that. And it's like, at the minute we're doing our Dungeons and Dragons campaign and I'm loving doing it, going through it and stuff, but I'm panicking because I'm just like, I've got this big pile of Space Marines and Arbites and you know, all kinds of crazy stuff over here, and they're just looking at me going, dude, really, come on.
We're still great.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, well, I'm quite lucky in that regard.
So I was going to say, if it makes you feel
I'm quite
any
lucky.
better, Matt, sorry, I got to know. You go.
Okay, it helps me in some way that I can't paint, and I know I can't paint, so I just stick to the spraying them in black, saying that they're in stealth armor, and job done.
But the thing is, man, I'm not the best painter in the world, but I'm pretty good at painting. I'm all right, and I like doing it. I enjoy, I can sit there and I can make a guy, and then I can sit there for 2 or 3 days and paint them, and I feel really fulfilled, and I'll have one good guy done. But then I look at the hundreds of other ones that I need to do, and we've got a Redemptor Dreadnought being shown up there. That's pretty good, Mark. Have you contrasted? Is that contrast paints on there?
No, that's all hand painted with.
And then,
stuff.
And then Bevan comes in.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't. My problem is I'm too self-critical. I think about holy shit. Magnetized.
Okay.
If anyone's not seeing this, he's what was it? What? I don't know what.
Oh, it was a Hive Tyrant.
Yeah, Hive Tyrant.
Really,
yeah.
quite an old one.
Magnetized Hive Tyrant. Oh, that's pretty good.
Flyrant.
Yeah.
Flyrant. Yeah, that's the one.
Flyrant. But yeah, so I'm overly self-critical when it comes to my painting and stuff. And so I'm very prone to doing something, making a mistake, and then detailing it and starting again. And I need to stop myself sometimes because I just get overly zealous with things. And
Are you the kind of person, if you make one little spot mistake, you go, "Oh, the fucking door," or something, like you blame it on something else? You go, it's not your skill, because obviously your skill's perfect. Something in the world has gone misbalanced, and you.
No, I'm very self-critical. It's all definitely me, but it's just like what I'll do is I'll get to a point where I'm doing something and it's looking really good, and in my mind I'm going, that's pretty good. I'm quite like that, and then I'll just go, do you know what that needs? That needs something like
one more thing,
and I'll do it, and I'll ruin it, and I'll just go, or in my mind it's ruined, and I'm just like, that's 4 days ruined, and just fucking walk off and off because I'm like, I just can't deal with this anymore.
I had a bit of that, and what I found was I started just doing assembly line. So like, if I just do
you know, is it not soul destroying though? Assembly line painting, is that not soul destroying for you?
Well, not really, because I do it in batches, and because, especially with line troops, you've got this whole thing where I'm just going to move that around. So I've got all these guys I built in like a huge attack.
Yeah.
And then I worked through the different stages with the line guys, and then while I was letting them dry, I'd go have a go at the Redemptor and work my way through it. And I've got the other guys are going to be in different armor and for the other forces, so I'll come and do batches of those when I finish with this one. My main problem was more that it's having the time to sit and do a batch and work it all through.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have left then, is when you're doing with that sort of thing, is making yourself break them up into units and just do the aggressors and come back to the rest.
This is something I missed out on. I never had like the mini figurines or anything to paint and and play and things like that. I've only ever been to a Games Workshop once. You know, my don't look at me like that, Mark. My circle of friends was very different because, you know, I was quite geeky, but there were certain things that you try and talk to your friends about, and they'd be like, I don't care. And you know, even what was really weird was when I first started getting into Star Trek, I loved Next Generation. I used to actually watch that quite a bit actually at my nan and granddad's house. So, and like one of my granddad's neighbours, he was a Next Generation fan and a Simpsons fan as well. So I used to obviously pick up a lot of good TV as it went on, and then I'd start watching stuff like Xena and Hercules and a lot of these shows, and even like Babylon 5 started getting into. But you know, I'd watch these things, but no one else that I knew watched these shows. No one else knew about it. Obviously, apart from Simpsons, but Simpsons was on everywhere basically. But I mean, like the proper geeky shows, I couldn't ever discuss. And then it wasn't until like years later I started meeting friends who would go, "Oh, have you ever been Games Workshop?" It's like, no. And then they say, "Oh, come in one day. You know, you'll enjoy it." And I think I was in there for about an hour, and they're going through all this stuff with me, all like how all the Warhammer stuff works. I think they just brought out like a Lord of the Rings expansion one as well, and they're going, "Yeah, this," and they're going through it. I'm like, "Yeah." And in my mind, they're going, "I don't have a bloody clue what you're on about." But I'd have loved to have known that. I would have loved to have been.
I had some really fond memories of my first time. Like Games Workshop, there's definitely a love-hate thing going on there because they're trying to definitely take all my money, and you know, as much as they're very much a case of they bring out new things, and it's not because they're trying to balance the rules and stuff like that. They're just trying to get more money off me, and I'm a fool
because they're personally attacking you.
Yeah, and I just buy into it. I will just I will buy those figures because that's just the way I am. But you know, I remember, you know, my first experience of Games Workshop was in Oxford, and I was there at my granny and granda's, and my dad took us into Oxford. It was me and my brother and sister, and we went in, and I have this very vivid image of this shop with things that I loved everywhere, and like all four corners of this place was just boxes of like Space Marines and orcs and all kinds of things, and I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And my dad bought my sister a little box of orcs, the paint, and he bought me and my brother Space Marine, which was like epic 40k, you know, sort of like the small things. And I remember looking at that game and sort of like these small things and all these tanks and these buildings and stuff, and just being and like just pouring it out on my grandfather's table, and him turning around to me and going, "Joe, those tanks look like World War One Mark IV tanks," and sort of telling me the history about World War One tanks and stuff, and it was just amazing. And that, you know, for me was, you know, that first moment with my father in a Games Workshop, and just sort of, you know, being completely taken in by this fantasy world, and I was just like, wow, just amazing. And that's why I've still got a soft spot for it, because, you know, that's for me was an amazing memory. I just, you know, I still cherish it today.
Yeah, I remember taking
that side of things when I was that sort of age, but just with friends. I didn't properly get into Games Workshop myself till I was sort of college age, when people, you know, when you're starting to make new friends, and I'd made friends with some people that were attending a local wargaming shop. So I have the same sort of good memories, but my good memories were kind of at that formative stage of like the older teenage years.
Yeah.
And that was like a 5-year obsession with spending every bit of money that I didn't have on things that I shouldn't really be spending. And it just all fell apart for about 10 or 11 years. And I started again when I moved up here, and ended up helping to build a gaming club that's been running for 10 years and has about 30 or 40 members.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I remember taking. So I remember taking my elder son Michael, who would have been about 7 or 8 at the time, into Games Workshop for the first time, and his eyes as he walked in, and just saw all this space, and basically he just saw this huge Space Marine at the back, and he just went, "I want one of them."
Yeah, that's why, you know, that's why Space Marines are so big, because as a child you walk in and you see a Space Marine and you go, that is honestly the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And you know now, especially now with the way they sort of, you know, the sculpts are just phenomenal. Some of the sculpts they do are absolutely amazing. Yeah. And to a child, like I was talking to my friend Russell, I've known for like 34 years or something stupid like that, and he's had a son. And you know, it's son's Cassidy, and he's like nearly 2, or he's like 1.5, went on a bit, and he was talking to me how that he cannot wait to take his son into Games Workshop for the first time, that first experience of going into that thing. And it's just like, yeah, man, I just, you know, absolutely. I don't have any kids, but that would be amazing, just being able to bring your kids into a gaming store for the first time.
Wizards of the Coast just released Dungeons and Dragons Adventure Begins, this board game, the sort of beginner D&D board game for ages 8 and up. And I showed the video to Ada and Michael, and they just took one look at that and said, Daddy, can we have that, please? And like, yes, we can.
Oh man, just awesome. Patty on Facebook says, my very first figures I tried painting as a youngster were my Hero Quest characters. Let's not talk about Hero Quest. I have a load of Mortal Realms building up now, not even started them. Yeah, Hero Quest. That was the first sort of board. I think Hero Quest was the first fantasy board game I ever played. That and Talisman were the first ones I'd ever played. And if you try to get Hero Quest now, so expensive if you want to get it. I'm so gutted.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so gutted that. And the thing is, right, at one point, in university, I went through the stage of like, I'm going to buy stuff at eBay and sell it on and be a millionaire by next year. And I bought a load of Hero Quest stuff, including some of the rare expansions.
Ooh.
And I still, and I can prove it. I've got it on my sell list on eBay, and I sold them for fucking nothing, like a small profit. And I was talking to my mate about it, and I looked back and I went, dude, that expansion's worth like 300 quid now. And I was just like, what did I do? What did I do?
Yeah, I really want to find Advanced Space Crusader or Advanced Hero Quest.
I've got,
and they are in triple figures.
I've got. Do you know what, man? I bought Space Crusade at a war boot at Element Games for 60 quid, brand new. Like, literally just not a dent on it. The things were all away, but it was literally perfect. And I got an Advanced Space Crusade as well for a similar price. In fact, I bought both of them off the guy for about 110 quid, and I was just like. And I was like, you do know these as a man. He's like, I have too much stuff. I need to get rid of them. His wife was standing there sort of kind of going, And it's like, hey, man, I'll take that shit off you completely. Yeah, definitely, 100%. And now I'm just got that bug of trying to get old school games.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember a game called Battle Masters?
Yes.
It was like this... It was like this
fantasy,
sort of,
wasn't it?
Like fantasy. It was basically like Warhammer Fantasy, but it was this huge. You got this huge mat, like, and it covered your entire floor. It might have just been I was a child and didn't sort of know anything, but in my mind, it covered the entire floor, and you had these big hexes, and you had these big sort of like movement trays of guys, and it was basically Warhammer, but a board game in a massive board game. And I've been trying to find that and its expansions, but it's quite expensive to get it sort of in good condition.
No money.
Yeah,
and I love no money because the people that have it know what it's worth now.
Yeah, and it's just like, I found one, and I was like, yeah, I could probably pay that, but then the expansions are, that's where the expansions is where they get you. I was like,
But Matt, can I ask what you would do with it though once you bought it?
Oh man, it would just stay in its box.
Just stay in its box.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah,
brand new in box.
If it was new, if that's the thing is, I am one of these guys, and I was talking to the guys in Element when I went to get my Indominus box. And I said, I've got a couple of these. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, one's to play with and one's to keep brand new.
You are a
I can't not do it. I don't do this. The thing is, I don't do this with board games for some reason. I play my board games. They fulfill their destiny. Every time I get a board game, they get used. But for things like that, I tend to sort of get when there's like... I know, and I'm not sure if it's down to trauma as a child, knowing how much these things were worth, and I basically threw them away or got given to my mates down the road by my mother or something. That I have this thing that I need to keep them, at least one copy brand new, just in the off chance that they're worth something later on down the line. Not that I would ever sell them. Not that I would ever sell them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the concept was like, I've got something cool. So I'll tell you what I've got now, right? I have got the 6th edition, a limited edition rule book and all the extras that you got with it. Yeah, I've got that, and I've got the 6th edition, brand new in box starter set. I've got the 7th edition special edition and the brand new in box. I've got the 8th edition brand new in box, and I've just bought the 9th edition rule book, special edition rule book, and I will have a brand new in box. And the brand news in box will just sit in the shelf going, I'm brand new and I'm in my box. And that's sort of how sad I am. I know what it is. I know people look at me and go, you know what, you're a horrible person. I know, but I can't help myself. It's just one of those things, I'm afraid.
It doesn't make you a horrible person. It just makes you like
Poor.
a collector. Yeah, like an aficionado. The problem is you haven't got the house to back it up. You need a massive house, like a huge house. Yeah,
and a 10-acre warehouse to put it all in as well.
Yeah, just and that's why I miss my old.
They've got through like LED light bulbs that look like torches, and just like ranks of shelving with all this stuff on display behind plexiglass. So no one can touch it and put fingerprints on it.
One of my sort of like I was thinking this whenever hopefully whenever I have kids and stuff, I'm just like, what do I do if I come home and my son and or daughter is sitting there with my limited edition Boromir figure ripped out of its packaging and sort of is just playing with it, and I'll just be like,
I already have an idea that there will be no son and or daughter if that did happen.
I think the time you're looking for is hostage situation.
I had my old Ski Electric set.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically like an old rally motocross Ski Electric set. Set up for my kids to play with, and 24 hours later, all 4 of the cars were no longer working.
I think that would kill me even more because I used to love.
Daddy was not happy.
No, yeah.
And the children understood just how disappointed Daddy was.
Did Daddy turn green and do Hulk smash?
No, I did not get angry. I did not go do Hulk smash because I'm not an angry person.
For 3 days straight?
No, I just explained to them carefully that I was very disappointed. And I explained to them that, no, that was something that I've had since I was about 10 or 11, so it's had about over 30 years. That was my own toy. And that, it was given to me by their nanny and grandpa. And yes, was a few things from my childhood. And they broke it.
Yeah, you give them the disappointment thing.
Exactly.
Oh, it's worse.
Shouting does not teach a child anything, but explain something why you're upset and why something has so much sentimental value to you. That tells more.
It's true. It's like, I'm not saying like my dad was very good at sort of bollocking me if I did something wrong, but I think the worst thing he ever did was like it was like GCSEs or something, or I can't even remember. It was A level. I basically spent most of my time drinking and wanting to be a musician and all that standard sort of generic teenage stuff, and I messed up. And he just sort of went, "I am so disappointed in you." And he didn't say anything else, and I was like, "Please shout at me, shout at me!" I don't know. That's the worst thing he's ever done. And I was just like, "Oh no, that's the worst thing."
Pushes the button.
Yeah, that's it. It's a disappointment thing. That's just, I think it's something you need to sort of throw in now and again. If you use it all the time, I think they get used to it. But if it's shout at them now and again, but everything, just throw in that disappointment thing, and they're like, "Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that," and then it's just game over.
Yeah, you gain the dad voice.
Yeah. But yeah, I just stresses me out, the amount of stuff, and it's just like, but there's games as well. Like I enjoy sitting there and playing a video game. Like when playing Rome with my brother over lockdown and stuff was amazing, because it was just like I was just focusing on one thing. But then it stresses me out because there's new games coming out and there's new things coming out, and I'm just like, but I can't get them all, I can't do it all, and then I just feel like I'm left out, and that's where my stresses come from.
You have to learn how to curate, like, your library to match your taste, and like just kind of research the games that are coming out. Like, will I play this? Will I, enjoy this?
Yeah.
Or to be honest, just wait for the Steam sale, because I've just picked up Far Cry 5 and Quantum Break for less than a tenner, and
But that is the worst thing as well, is that you resist it, and you get yourself sorted. And then 2 months later, you start getting the emails. There's a sale, 10% off, 15% off.
Yeah.
New expansion. And if you want to buy them together, they'll do it for this special price. And all that hard-won willpower.
I'm not that bothered about expansions. As long as the main game is fine. That's what I want.
Yeah.
If you need an expansion to finish the story, I have no interest in it. The main game should give me the beginning, middle, and end of the story. That's all that matters as far as I'm concerned.
I'm all about the expansions.
One of the worst ones at the moment is when I go onto Nintendo. Even though I've got loads of games on the Switch, I will just look at seeing, what's coming out, if there's anything like worth looking up. And right under the charts, you have current offers. And normally, if you click on the first bit of current offers, it normally has something that's at like 95% off. Oh. And it's like, okay, let's hover over it. And then what was it? One of them that came up on there, 95% off, was the Untitled Goose game. And I see loads of clips of this, and I was like, oh, I've liked the look of this. And I was like, sod it, for 70p, why not? Let's buy it, let's play it. Yeah. And it's like, I've played it once and it's still just sitting there. It's like, oh yeah, that was a good idea. Or Far Cry 3, that was on that was on sale for £2.50. Same thing again. Yeah. I bought it because it was 90% off. I was like, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll play this.
Yeah, but Far Cry 3 is actually a really good game.
Yeah, but the only reason why I haven't played it is because I already have so many bloody games in front of me. And I keep thinking, why do I do this every time? I kind of have to play it. John. I have to have that initial play to justify buying the game, and then I'll be like a year later, oh yeah, I've still got that game. Yeah, I'll get back on it. Yeah, why not?
You're so lucky, John, because you only have to worry about the games. Me and Matt have stacks of stuff to build and paint and different game systems and things like that.
But at the same time, I have a girlfriend who goes to me, oh, so how much have you spent on games? I go, oh no, I've only bought one game. I've only bought one game since lockdown. You see. And then even the other day when I was at Game, I picked up Wolfenstein Youngblood because I'd not played that one yet, and it's gone down to £13. I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. £13, that's not bad. And as soon as I walked out, I couldn't even put it in my pocket or anything. Standing right outside the shop. What have you got there? I've got
sneaking games past your other half.
I said, look at that sticker. I said, look, it was £30. I bought it because it's on offer. It's £13. And I really thought she was. And she went, oh, all right. Do you want me to put it in the bag? I was like, yeah. I was really waiting for her. Did you really have to buy that game? Because I've had that a few times when I bought a brand new game. It's like 50, 55 quid. Yeah. Do you really need that game? Like, are you going to get the most of that? Or my favourite one, yeah. Is that game going to keep you occupied for about 40 to 50 hours? It's like, some of them do. It was like when I got Xenoblade Chronicles. When I picked that one up, she went, "Yeah, are you gonna play that game? Are you actually going to put a lot of hours into that one?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's JRPG." I said, "I reckon I'll get a good 30, 40 hours out of it at least." And she went, "Okay." I said, "Do you want me to send you a screenshot? Do you want me to actually, when I've completed the game, I'll show you how much I've done it?" She went, "No. You don't need to do that much." I was like, "Oh. That's all right." But I think she thinks a lot that most games obviously are RPG like. Obviously they are going to have a long story, and even now, because she used to be very anti-video game, she's now I've actually got to the point where she's kind of getting excited for games, and the new Crash Bandicoot one, she wants to play it, but she actually said to me, "Oh, you better get that on on PlayStation." I went, why? She went, oh, because the PlayStation controller I can use. I don't want to use the Xbox controller. I was like, right, okay. I said, if I do buy it, I said, I'm going to be playing the game as well, not just you. It's like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
The thing is, man, you got like, I think games are slightly different. The whole
I would never get away with figurines.
Definitely miniature gaming is I don't think it's cottoned on to the female demographic as much as maybe sort of video games, and so there's definitely a skill in sneaking past things past your other half.
The thing is, thing is, when I say I'm going to see, like, say, like when cinemas are back open, I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to see like Wonder Woman, or I'm going to go and watch the new Spider-Man, whatever. She don't even call them like films. She just go, oh, what are you going to watch a cartoon for? I went, they're not cartoons. They're superhero films. And she went, well, superheroes are in cartoons. I went, well, yes, yeah, kind of. You are right, but and then it was kind of the same like for like when you see like these mini figurines, like when like we've been around like Forbidden Planet or something like that. And she goes, why would someone want toys? I went, they're not toys. I said they're high value collectibles. And she went, what's the difference between them and a toy? I go,
about 40 quid.
You've beaten me there. I said they're more money, and I wouldn't ever play with them toys.
Rick Ward says on Facebook, I've had Final Fantasy VII Remake sat unplayed since lockdown began. I'm trying to complete everything in my part way through before I start something else. Yeah. I'm shocking. I'm shocking for starting something, getting halfway in and then starting something new. I know that. Yeah, just finished Persona 5. It's amazing, but takes an ages to get through. That's the original one. And then P5 Royal. I don't think I can do the whole thing again, plus the added extras.
Yeah, because Persona 5 apparently is around about 100 hours on its own, and then Persona 5 Royal, some people said it's like an extra 20, but then I've heard some people say it can actually go up to 200 hours. So, wow. I'd love to see who is actually doing that game in full.
Yeah.
So you say about the miniatures thing, going back about 2 or 3 weeks, once things had relaxed a little bit, me and my partner went down to the beach and caught up with one of my oldest friends, who was actually one of my partner's bridesmaids, and her other half he D&Ds a little bit. He was into Magic. He has a bad Hearthstone habit, but he admitted to me that he'd been looking at the stuff for the new Indomitus box set, and he was quite fancying the look of the new Necrons, Matt.
They are pretty cool looking. And
I said to him, well, before you do that, before you buy into stuff, when you're over this way, you can come up one of the mornings and you can have a go at it. We've got some friends that play that army, and you can see how it works for you before you spend the money. And my friend came over to me and said, if he buys any Warhammer, you're dead to me.
It's the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end.
Buying a £125 box set until he's sure he wants to do it. I said, bearing in mind he spent the last year selling his accumulated tons of Magic, he can probably afford plenty of Warhammer before he starts touching any actual money that he's earned or is in the account for buying a house or whatever. She went, I don't care.
It's bad looking at some of the cards I've sold over the years, like some of the old Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and things like that. And some of them that I probably got like maybe 100 quid for, or like when I was doing bundles of them, I see some of them there saying like up to 50 grand. I'm like, for God's sake, why didn't I hold that just a few more years?
Cards are worth loads, man. I was watching like a Pawn Stars, and there was like some Charizards that were like worth hundreds of thousands and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god.
Because obviously if you got like the first edition, like if you got from the first original print of Charizard, especially if you had the Japanese Charizard, some of them are going for like $250,000 to $500,000. It's like, that's insane money just for a bit of card, and a bit of foil. That's insane.
I've got a load of I told myself I wouldn't sort of buy into the sort of card game thing because I knew how sort of how addictive it can be. So I steered away.
Hold on. Can we just finish the story? Matt bought everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. But so I did the Warhammer one that was Conquest Fantasy Flight Games did, and it was a living card game, so it wasn't as bad because you got booster packs and it wasn't sort of you didn't trade them, you just got everything and you used those, and so that was a really good one. I enjoyed that. I mean, my brother used to play quite a bit, but then they brought out Warhammer Champions, Age of Sigmar Champions, sorry. And I went, oh my god, this is like a collectible card game. This is like going Magic the Gathering deep if I do this. So I started off and I bought a box. It was like 50 quid. And I went through it all and I had like some cool stuff and then a lot of other uncool stuff. I tried to trade some of it, and I was just like, yeah, people aren't wanting to trade for this naff box of bun stuff that isn't worth anything. And, you know, like Bevan said, you've got like a small sort of amount that you have. So I bought another box, and then I bought another box, and then I got the first set, and I managed to get most of the first set, and I was just like, oh, that's it. I'm complete. I feel complete. And then they brought out an expansion. And then I tried that, and then they brought out another expansion, and I went, I'm stopping there. I can't do this anymore.
I'm impressed at your willpower.
Yeah, I was too as well. I just went, I'm stopping right now because there's no way I can carry on with this. It's just fucking ridiculous, the amount of money you can spend on those things.
I've heard card games are going more towards a more structured expansion system rather than relying on trading cards, like the randomized expansions. They're kind of like set packs.
Yeah, well, that's the living card games do that. Fantasy Flight are really good at that.
Fantasy Flight did one recently, which was based on, you don't buy boosters, you buy a pack, and the packs are all semi-randomized. They all have their own name. Every pack is unique. Yes, and they've got a second version of that. So the idea of that was supposed to be, you don't have to go and buy those expansions, but if the deck doesn't work for you, you can buy a different deck. And all the cards are kind of associated with that deck that you get in that pack.
Yeah, I think it's just I can understand. It's when it comes to like collectible card game and things like that, where you get randomized stuff and you're trying to trade. I understand. It's like, yeah, the trading thing is kind of fun, but it's also it's gambling in a way, and it's encouraging people to sort of spend a lot of money. And fine, yeah, these companies will make a lot of money, like from idiots like me who will buy things like that. But it's just I've got boxes of these cards that are just useless, and it's just like it's just pointless, and it's so
that's
annoying.
Why I like what the latest edition of the Eternal Struggle Vampire card game have done. They're kind of just releasing expansions defined by the clan.
Yeah.
It's not like, and that just it makes perfect sense. It's like if I want to get into, say, the Torador, the Breacher, bang, that's what I want. Yeah. That's all I need.
So that was the living card game concept, wasn't it? Because they did one for Netrunner, Android Netrunner.
Yeah.
There was a Star Wars living card game as well, and the idea was that you bought an expansion rather than boosters, and that expansion just had a certain number of each thing, and that meant you could play that version of the game with the core deck and that, as long as the other person was playing with the same set of things. And that always made more sense to me because a friend of mine I've had several friends that own gaming shops over the years, and I remember sitting with one guy a couple of years back, going over some stuff with him, and they had a Pokemon thing going on. No, not the Pokemon, Digimon. It was Pokemon. That was it. And so everyone buys in, don't they? And they get a certain set of things and they play.
Yeah.
And then they were coming up, and it wasn't the kids that were coming back up. It was the older. It was the adults. And they said, "We just have a couple of boosters of this, one of those." And then they'd keep coming back. And at one point, one couple came up, and he'd sold he had like 3 or 4 boxes of these boosters. And he'd sold to them. They must have spent 150 quid.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, you've run out of those. That's fine. We'll have a couple of such and such. So next one back." And he was like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, we're fine. And they both spent like 130, 140 quid each.
Yeah,
between them.
It's addictive.
Yeah. It will be back in the 90s. I had a couple of friends who would literally buy an entire box of boosters for Magic the Gathering.
Oh God!
And just between themselves and sit down and just open each pack, and that looks like the most soul-sucking thing ever.
But they have Magic do that, and I've never seen it, but apparently when new expansions and stuff come out, people go to the local gaming store, they sit down, they buy their boxes, and then they sort of. I don't know how it works, but they all sit around in a circle and they open up their boosters and then they pass on the cards and then they take the cards and they do it that way. And I'm not unsure how it works. Somebody might be able to explain it to me, but they basically I don't know, but they put the cards in the middle and then sort of they go around and people take the ones that they want and then they pass it on. And
is that a draft tournament?
Remember about 14 years ago, me and a bunch of mates bought a big batch of MechWarrior Age of Destruction miniatures. And we clubbed it, about 4 of us clubbed together. And we just basically got an entire box, like huge thing, in between us. And we all knew which faction we wanted. Like I was into the Lao and another mate was into the Davian. And we just basically sat down and each one took a turn, like, okay, I'll have that Lao mech. So then we just did it one at a time and just worked it out that way.
Yeah. Paddy on Facebook says Pogs and shiny slammers. Oh man, I've still got a load of Pogs. I've also got. Do you remember the Star Wars Pogs that you used to get in Watsits and stuff like that? I've got loads. I've got loads. Yeah, Tazos. Yeah,
Tazos. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got loads of those, man. And they used to be massive in my school, like Pogs and Tazos and stuff. That's huge. And it's just like it was one of those fads. And yeah, I
Garbage
lost.
Pail Kids.
Yeah.
When I was now aging myself.
I remember that one. Yep, they were gross. I remember there was like the lockers at my school had like the stickers were just all over the place, and it was just it was mental. Some of them were pretty gross as well.
Yes.
They were the best ones.
Rick says on Facebook, I'm not into TCGs, but I was in Tokyo earlier this year and went into a couple of card shops there. How anyone who keeps up with them is beyond me. It's ridiculous. I had no idea just how many different types series there are. Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
And they start off, it's that joke, isn't it, from what's it with Bern Gorman, you know, first they came once every 3 years, then we started seeing them every 2 years, then every year and a half. We estimate in several months we'll start seeing them like 12 at a time. And that's CCG expansions, isn't it? They just keep slamming them at people, and as they get fatigued, they just slam them with more to overload them.
Yeah.
And it becomes, but these ones are shinier. They're all foil stamped. But they've got you another £2 an expansion.
It's all about the
and
foils.
And you only get 5 cards instead of 10.
There was a card game I used to play called UFS, which was basically like each set was a different like more not Mortal Kombat, that was the only one they didn't have, like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, that kind, that was a fighting card game of that kind. And every box had one pack of it was a super pack or something. It was all foils. And you just sort of surreptitiously sort of look at this little box, right? And you just pick them up each one at a time and give it a little rub, and you can always tell like which one didn't flex quite as much as the rest, and that was the foily one. You go, yeah, I love that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Oh man, some of the addiction was very strong.
Yeah. I mean, even GW got into that a little bit, didn't they? Out in the Japanese market, Matt, with the Space Marine Heroes.
All right, yeah. Or you could basically buy a Space Marine, but you wouldn't know which one it was. They did that with the what are they called? The little Bandai Namco sort of like cutesy sort of ones that they did.
They did with Lego minifigs as well, don't they?
I can't remember what they were called, but yeah, they did that where you bought one and then you didn't know which one it was, and luckily they were all sold out before I got my sort of self into that nightmare.
Once with the Lego minifigs, that I found someone sent me a link to a website, and it actually had a guide for trying, if you've picked up the bag, the things to look for that would identify the really rare ones, because they had like a particular kind of hat, or they had certain accessories that felt weird through the bag. I was like, when it comes down to that's got to be a little bit scary.
Yeah.
So basically, the moral of this story is don't get into board games, card games, anything that has plastic in it, computer games, just even books, man. You can't even do books these days without limited editions coming out, man. I've got myself.
But
this is another
having
one.
Having said that, the limited edition illustrated editions of Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings look amazing. And I read the entire series back to back several times. Yeah, this was before my.
You don't go back.
This is before that rule came in. This was during the 90s and 2000s. Massive stuff I've got now, but I don't care. They just look amazing.
Yeah, so basically you can't do anything because it's all addictive these days, and you just might as well just save your money and walk your dog. And
I just have this feeling
cheat your partner.
Oh, was it the TV show Brass Eye? Don't know if you ever see it. There's an episode where you got Chris Morris. He's just going to people going, "You're an addict. You're an addict. You're all addicts. You're an addict."
Yeah, that's true, man. I am a self-confessed plastic crack addict. It's just sort of I can't help myself.
Neil Stephenson put it best when he said, "We're all geeks now."
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Just
we just don't have our different things.
Yeah, well, that's it. Everybody's got their thing. don't they?
It's the old thing, isn't it? That that people give you grief for being a geek because you dress up in with Star Trek t-shirts or in cosplay or something like that. Are the same people that then insist on going down to the pub, forcing them to put something on the TV to watch the game they want, while they're wearing silly foam hats and big pointy foam hand in the latest edition.
And discussing the tactics.
Release that week.
T-shirt that's about 2 sizes too small on them.
I remember from my old office, my old job, and they were massively into fantasy football. Like sort of like they had the leagues and stuff, and they all had the
scary stuff. Fantasy football, scary shit.
Yeah, like proper, just like really, really, really getting into this stuff, like and going on like I'm going to buy Messi for 300. And he's my wild card, and they would literally send emails. I would get in trouble for coming in 5 minutes late, but they'd be sitting there bantering with the boss about their new fantasy leagues and stuff like this. And I just turned around to them and said, "I'm playing fantasy football tonight as well." And so I've got a human team and an orc team, and they're all looking at me like you're an absolute nerd. And I said, "You can't call me a nerd."
I've got Picard and Kirk on the bench.
Yeah, that'd been amazing.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay. I think we're going to leave it there. It was a good sort of kind of ending. We've been gone for about an hour and 30 minutes. It's good to have you back, Bevan. You need to come back more often, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you back.
I'll try. Yeah. Sundays are really hard for me because it's usually my playtesting night. So, yeah.
Have you got anything on the cards at the minute that you can tell us about?
I've got one called Haunticulture. It's the spiritual successor. That's what I've got to say in the ad thing. It's the next one on from Ghostal.
Okay.
So like you're doing the garden now rather than the house. So
okay, cool. All right,
yeah,
nice.
it's gone a bit bizarre, but yeah.
Is that going to be kickstarted?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right, yep. Cool.
Huge bosses.
Don't tell Matt about the Kickstarter. It's dangerous.
Number 4.
Do you know how you get me? How you hook me in, Bevan? What you need to do is go, oh, here's our awesome new game with all these cool little miniatures as well. But it's got expansions, lots of expansions, and I'll be like, oh, okay. All right, I'll buy that.
I don't think he needs that. He just sends you a link. You go, yeah, all right then. Number 44, done.
The thing is, man, I've got your game from the last time I got Goose from thing, but I refuse to open it simply because it's like it's somebody I know, and if they get super famous, I want to have this an original copy of the game. So
shall I send you another one to play there?
Yeah, I've been meaning to sort of like I think one of my friends actually has a copy of it, so I just need to sort of I'll play it. And then that means, but I've got it there, just sort of like in its box, nice and pristine, to sort of say, I knew the guy who did this game.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Anyway, okay, we'll leave that for tonight. Really enjoyed that. Very good. So I've been Matt Geary. Thank you very much for watching. If you've been watching, so that's Paddy and Rick and Josh, obviously, and some of the other ones who are commenting. Very much appreciated. If you are listening to this on the podcast, thank you very much. Make sure to tell your friends. Make sure to download it. Our figures are going up and up and up, which is good. So the more downloads, the better. It should open a few more avenues for ourselves. But yes, for me, good night. With me has been Bevan Clatworthy. Sorry, Bevan Clatworthy.
Cheers, guys.
Mark Canty.
Bye-bye.
Peter Ray Allison.
Take care and be safe.
And Jonjo Cosgrove.
See you all later, good guys.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.